Good evening to all my tea drinkers and welcome to the Tea with April. You know what time it is. It's 5 p.m. on Thursday. Happy Black History Month. Happy every part of the month there is for you. I am so excited about today's show. We've got some great guests. I'm going to tell you about them later. Well, no, I'll tell you about it now. We've got Congressman Bennie Thompson. He is in Mississippi and he wants to talk to us. Also, we have another friend of the show, Terry Edmonds, the first Black speechwriter for a president of the United States. He's a Morgan grad. He's from Baltimore. He's my homie. I love him. And he's going to talk to us about next week's State of the Union address and what it really should look like. You know, what is the state of this nation? Hmm. We got to drink some tea on that. But right now, in trending topics, um, we're not talking about the wannabe king right now. Let's hop over the pond and talk about ex Prince Andrew, who was arrested. I'm talking about King Charles's brother, Elizabeth's son. Yes, ex Prince Andrew was arrested on suspicion of misconduct while in office. He was stripped of his title, his residence, and his salary because of information given to Jeff Epstein. Sip some tea on that one. So, as President Trump says that he's absolved, I don't think that's the case yet. Let's keep watching how all of this plays out as they're trying to redact, hide, and move things off of these files. Let's just stay tuned a little while and see what happens down the road. Now, let's go to yesterday. Whew, at the White House, Black History Month. I just want to say this first. Black History Month is 100 years old. It was put in place 100 years ago. And, this president, I'm glad he still wants to recognize it, but let's get the narrative right. Guys, roll the tape.
People who basically counter what the mainstream media has done. President Trump was the president who fully funded historically Black colleges and universities. President Trump took the lead and performed criminal justice reform. President Trump made sure that we had opportunity zones. Let me close by saying this. This country is at a crossroads, and we have the right president at the right time. And if you want school choice, like I know you do, President Trump wants it. If you want a law and order society and secure border, President Trump wants that. And more importantly, I say this because this is the greatest country on the planet. American citizens should decide American elections. Vote for the SAVE Act.
Ooh, that was Leo Terrell, senior counsel to the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights and the U.S. Department of Justice. I thought they abolished the Civil Rights Department in the Department of Justice. They did every other place. Anyway, so let me say this. I'm an HBCUer, and Congressman Bennie Thompson, who's coming in soon, is an HBCUer. I see him nodding his head. Tougaloo, honey. Let me tell you something. Congress has the purse strings, and he's raising his hands. I see him. Congress has the purse strings. It was Congress that funded HBCUs. And the president at the event yesterday had the audacity to say, well, HBCU presidents always keep coming back to me asking for more because we are underfunded. HBCUs have historically been underfunded. There have been lawsuits to get equity for funding for HBCUs. HBCUs have needs for infrastructure. They have needs, infrastructure meaning buildings. A lot of these HBCUs are over 150 years old. They also need funding for programs, research, teachers, etc. So Donald Trump said that he did the most. He did not. He did not. It was Congress that did that. Remember that. And if the president says I'm wrong, prove it. All right. The next thing, criminal justice reform. Yeah, but guess what? We don't have sentencing reform. Okay. Now let's go to the next thing. Opportunity zones. I was here empowerment zones, brown zones, and all this stuff way back in the Clinton era. Remember the guy named Al Gore, brownfields? So this is not new. Okay. Law and order society. I understand that some of the people there lost loved ones, and I get it. I get it when people lose loved ones. But here's the thing. law and order, and you want to make sure that your situation is covered. I get it. But what happened in Savannah, Georgia, with that black teacher who was on her way to work to teach those school children? And what happened? What happened? She was killed in a car accident as feds were going after a Guatemalan man. They didn't even look to her to help her, and she died. That's the law and order you're talking about? Mississippi, not Mississippi. Well, excuse me, Minnesota. I'm thinking Mississippi because of the congressman. Minnesota, is that the law and order you're talking about? Chicago, Washington, D.C., Portland, Oregon, Los Angeles? I don't think so. And then the SAVE Act, we're going to discuss the SAVE Act with the congressman in a minute. But yeah, the congressman is getting ready. He's turning his phone. You got to turn your phone the other way, sir. Yeah, so he's getting ready. You're going to see some beautiful skies in Mississippi. And then let's go to this affordability. Today, Donald John Trump, the president of the United States, went down to Georgia, where Marjorie Taylor Greene used to be a representative of. Yeah, the price of eggs may have gone down, but I tell you, everything else, the price of meat, everything else has gone up. It's hard to afford what we used to be able to afford yesterday. Take your calculator. You look at yesterday's prices, compare them to today's prices. I'm telling you, I have a problem. I've said this to you guys before. I have a problem with a president who does not cut coupons, nor does his cabinet cut coupons. So my thing is, I go to the gas station, my gas prices are still high. They may be lower in some parts of the nation, but think about this. Everything is high. Tariffs have created a skyrocketing effect on products that we used to get at a certain price. I mean, he can close one eye and turn his head and say one thing, but I'm telling you, your pocketbook is screaming another. So, guys, I also want you to think about this. Think about this. Think about freedom. Think about what this nation is going through right now. Next Tuesday, we have a State of the Union address. The president will be in the well of the House. There are going to be a lot of congressional leaders boycotting. We have 12 so far, and I guarantee you the numbers are climbing. So next week, how do we figure that out? And I want to bring in the right congressman from the state of Mississippi, Bennie Thompson. Congressman, thank you for joining me. They're bringing you in now. They said you're ready. There you go, in your car. Hello, sir.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hope you see all this sun and
I
everything we
see the
getting here.
beautiful sun, the cloud, the sky. It looks like a picture. It's beautiful.
It is 85 degrees today
Don't you
in
tell me
Jackson,
that.
Mississippi.
And I still have snow still piled up in some parts of my yard. That's ridiculous. 85. Well,
85.
well, sir, first of all, what do you think about this economic issue? President Trump says that's going to be one of the topics that he wants to address with the State of the Union. Um, where do
Well,
you stand?
well, let me tell you, anything that Donald Trump says, you need to have it qualified
Woo,
because he's going to always tell his side. That doesn't mean it's the correct side. It's his side. So people have to understand everything that he said since he's been president this time, he's had to walk it back.
yeah,
So it's Donald Trump being Donald Trump, and
right.
so people know that this whole issue about affordability, he tried to deny it that it was an issue because he said, "Oh, gas is low, eggs is low, things are better," but that's because he's a showman. He he's not a statesman, and so we can disprove everything he's saying. Everybody who goes to the supermarket, they know the difference each time they go in the products that they buy.
Do you cut coupons?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I got them on my phone. Uh, look, I got it all because you have to, as they say in the South, you have to make ends meet. And
Yes.
if clipping coupons make ends meet, then so be it.
So be
But
it.
but now I want you to understand too now, Donald Trump lives in public housing. He gets free food.
That's right.
He gets free transportation. And then he criticized people who own Section 8. He criticized people who own food stamps.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? He criticized individuals who have to get subsidized transportation to get to work or to the doctor.
And wait a minute, he cut SNAP is still a problem. A lot of states are running out of SNAP funds. What about that? What's happening in
All right,
Mississippi?
absolutely. So this whole notion is what he's doing is bad, but he's trying to convince you it's good. I mean, give me a break. This guy has mastered the art of hocus pocus. And so, what Democrats are doing, especially the Congressional Black Caucus, we're calling it like we see it.
I
Uh,
know.
if he is wrong, then you can rest assured that the Congressional Black Caucus will be on the case.
Well, what about
Everything, everything he says, we can come right back with it with a counter narrative with the facts.
so
He
is the Congressional Black Caucus working on the SNAP issue because some of the states are already losing are ending their money now because they did that extra, extension because he cut it out of the budget.
Yeah, yeah, but we are working on it, and I believe we'll get it because there's other legislation that goes with this.
Mhm.
The Farm Bill is an overriding issue that the
Yes.
SNAP program goes in. They're trying to do that. Well, these millionaire farmers can't get their subsidy payment unless we got the SNAP program in the Farm Bill.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it will take urban votes to pass a farm bill, And so
Mhm.
we work together on it. But as executive branch of government, he can do mean things, but
Yeah.
he can't stop the program. Now he can be evil, and the thing is, he has his bluff in on the chairmen of the various committees of jurisdiction. I
Yeah.
mean, they are just, they come April and say, ask the Democrats, well, what are you all going to do about all this Trump is doing? I said, are you kidding? That's your president. Yeah, but we can't say anything because he'll run somebody against us. Now, these are grown men and women who are saying they are afraid to do something that's right.
Yeah. So listen,
So we have a challenge.
yeah. Congressman, everyone is jumping in. They want to talk to you. Education is a lamp says also veterans are not getting supported. They have to deal with the percentages placed on their lives when they seek medical and mental health care or disability. Lori says, I blame the Epstein class for all the chaos, food prices, rent, and others, what used to be affordable for the working class. The day I went to the store and saw the insane increase in prices on something like hot dogs and also hamburgers, I came out. Connie says, I hope Dems boycott the State of the Union. Are you boycotting? Oop, your phone just moved, but it's okay. There you go. Are you
Yeah,
boycotting, sir?
absolutely. Yeah. Look, I can say that this is on Trump's State of the Union. I've only been to one, and I only went to that one to block the Republicans from getting the aisle seats. When you walk in, that time he walked in, there were all Democrats there. That was the only reason I went at that time because there's nothing, uh, you know, that he can say uh, that I will believe in. And our leadership have said to us that uh, they don't want any
Well,
demonstrations
there
or
was a
stuff like that.
demonstration last
If
year
you,
with Al Green and
yeah,
yeah, his cane.
yeah, and so I'm as the kids say, I'm down with it. I won't go, so I'm good.
So the phone kind of cut out for a minute, but is this, you said you've only been to one when he was president? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, good. All right. Now, Iris says, good. They all should boycott the State of the Union or turn their backs when he stumbles in. Oh my goodness. Um, let me see. Iris says, oh my goodness, as a black woman, I'm horrified. How much did they pay this man? Susan said, so much happening. Need my contrarian team for mental health. BLM forever. Come on now. That's what I'm saying. Sip your tea with us. So, Congressman, And thank you for telling us that. Let's go back to this issue on the SAVE Act because they brought that up. First of all, the Black History Month event, and then Leo Terrell talking about the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act, yeah, everybody has documentation for different things, but it's discriminatory to force, it's a poll tax to have people have to have ID to go into a polling place because a lot of people don't have cars and drive. Am I correct?
You're absolutely right. And if you are a married female and take your birth certificate in to register to vote, you still can't register because the name on your birth certificate doesn't match your current name. So, it's like you are creating another barrier for enfranchisement. The registering and the election and the voting process should be easy.
Should
You're
be.
making it complicated. And so in the name of, I guess, good government, but we are used to these things. My mama had to interpret a section of the Constitution in order to become a registered voter,
Mm,
but the person who okayed it was an eighth grade scholar.
mm.
So you understand these tricks that they do. Say back sounds good, but there's no substance to it other than a barrier for people. And this notion that somehow illegal people are voting, they can't prove it. They can't prove it. They can't prove that the elections have been stolen. They can't approve any of that. So this whole notion, this is just our Republican colleagues just trying to create an issue that doesn't exist.
So we don't have that much time with you, but I'm so thankful. And I want to stay on voting and the partial government shutdown and what's the state of our union. And the HBCU event last night. I mean, I got so much. If you can get like that.
Uh, okay, let me hit it real fast. Uh, I was a plaintiff in the Ayers versus the state of Mississippi case. I was a student at Jackson State University then, but I had to go to the white school library because the books in the Jackson State Library were inadequate. And so,
HBCU.
but it took us April 27 years to win that lawsuit.
Yeah.
Now we won $500 million. Jackson State got a school of engineering. And what the good part about it is the state of Maryland used our heirs case litigation to
Hmm.
sue to get for the HBCUs in Maryland.
Yeah.
So then Alabama came back in the same track. And that so now all of a sudden,
Hmm.
in the name of diversity, equity, inclusion, so many of those hard fought victories, they're taken back. And they say, oh, that's past. We don't have any discrimination. I said, BS, give me a break. We have plenty. And so now what they're really doing to us is trying to erase our history
Yeah.
as a people.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter whether it's the African American Museum, whether it's the Arlington National Cemetery, or whereas in my state, the Medgar Evers home, which I got
Yes.
put into the National Park Service, and
Yes.
now they want to say that the assassin who killed Medgar Evers
Byron
uh,
De La Beckwith.
should not, we should not have it in the pamphlet, and we shouldn't say that he bled out in his driveway of his home because it makes people feel bad. Give me a break. Who would feel bad other than a sympathizer of Byron De La Beckwith? You know? So
And
these
think
are,
about what happened in Philly. They put Donald Trump wants to appeal the fact that a judge said, yes, you can put the exhibit of the slaves of George Washington back up, but the White House during Black History Month said, no, we don't want it up. But he's the president for black folks. He's
yeah, and
Black
then
History Month, Black History Century. I mean, like, cut
yeah,
me a
then,
break.
then I see this dog and pony show at the White House in the name of Black history, and then he wants to hold up my brother Mike Tyson as an example of good Black history. Now
He
athletes
bit
to
somebody's
fine.
ear off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so this whole notion that we don't have to accept who Donald Trump thinks is quote a good black. A good black is somebody you get along with. Most people we identify with as a good black are change makers. You
Mm,
know, they don't
like
go
you.
along with to get along, and,
Yeah.
and so this whole notion is that he would invite a sanitized group of black people
Oh
to
my
come to
goodness.
the White House to somehow try to legitimize what
Yeah.
he's doing to black people.
So listen, I'm look, you speaking you singing my song. We on the choir together on this one. But the last two things I need to ask you really fast. What about you are the ranking member of the
Security.
Homeland Security Committee. There's this partial government shutdown because of you guys want restrictions on ICE because of the deadliness that they carry with them. How does this play out? How do you see that playing out? And what do you think is going to happen with Louisiana versus Calais in the Supreme Court? We're hearing that could be coming any day now.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, uh, ICE is the only so-called federal law enforcement agency that wears masks, that doesn't wear cameras. You don't know who they are because there's no nameplate on their what they're dressed in. They don't have a standard uniform to wear. And you just see these guys coming at you, talking about get on the ground, all this kind of stuff. That's not who we are. But more egregious to that, April, is they are now singling people out because they look illegal. Now,
Yes.
I don't know.
Profiling.
That's right. And so we made a lot of those as our standard issues. You can't look at me and tell me I'm illegal. They locked up 4 Sioux Indians in Minneapolis because they looked illegal. Now, if a Native American is not an American, I don't know who is.
I know.
So, but the worst part is they sent 3,000 ICE agents to Minneapolis. Minneapolis Police Department only has 500 people.
That part. And
You
so
see?
does St. Paul.
Yeah. So this whole notion is overkill. But guess what? They are trained from the day they are hired. 47 days later, they are ICE agents. Do you realize that there are some school crossing guards that get more training than ICE agents? That's offensive.
Yeah.
But now there are 100,000 Somalis, immigrants in Minneapolis area. There are 2.6 million immigrants in Texas. There are 1.6
Preach.
million immigrants in Florida. And
Preach.
so you send the cavalry to the Minneapolis St. Paul area when if the numbers are what you're after, you know, but look what color the people are in the Minneapolis St. Paul area. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
We're
got you.
being we're being profiled.
Yes, we
You
are.
know, that's sort of like telling you or me go back where we came from. I can go back to Bolton, Mississippi,
I can go
because
back to
that's where I came
Baltimore.
from. You know, so I think Democrats have drawn the line, not in the sand, but absolutely in stone, that we are not giving up. We're gonna push back. If we roll over to Donald Trump on this, we can kiss the midterm elections goodbye.
You're absolutely right. Sir, your people are screaming at me, telling me that you've got to go. But you know what? Thank you from one HBCU to another. You are an icon. You are a freedom fighter. I so appreciate you. And I'm so thankful you came to sip some tea with me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Congressman. Guys, you just heard from the right iconic Congressman, Bennie Thompson of Mississippi. He took us for a ride in Mississippi. He said it's 85 degrees there. I still got snow outside here in Maryland. That's crazy. But Guys, he laid it down. He's not going to be at the State of the Union next week. He's boycotting. I love it. We're adding more to the list. So right now, I want to bring in someone as I see the chat going. I want to bring in someone by the name of Terry Edmonds. I have so much love for this man, and you'll understand why. He is a Morgan grad like myself. We got nothing but HBCU on here today. He's a Morgan grad, along with myself. We didn't go to school at the same time. He's from Baltimore. And guess what? He was the first Black presidential speechwriter, head speechwriter for any president in the nation. I want to bring to you Terry Edmonds. Terry, welcome. I can't hear you, Terry. You're on mute. You're muted. Unmute, Terry. I see you though. Is it us or is it you? Just well, we'll get to you in a minute. Yeah, there you go. Hey, hey, my friend. I can hear you now. Hi. Terry, thank you for joining. You know how much love I have for you. And I appreciate you. And you don't show up, you don't come out too often, but you came out for me, and I appreciate you. Guys, Terry has this amazing book. He writes poetry as well. Question mark, interrogate. How do you say that last word? Well, it's question marks then. But how do you say it? Interrogants? Interrogantes? You didn't even, you said yes, you didn't, you don't even know how to say it yourself. Interrogantes, yes, yes, interrogantes. So my Spanish speaking friends are going to be like, what in the world are you saying? So the book is it's English on one side and Spanish on the other. But the reason why I have Terry here today is because Terry was the head speechwriter for Bill Clinton. And Terry not only did speechwriting for Bill Clinton, he also helped out with Obama and Kamala Harris, etc. He's been called on all the time. And again, we talked about next week. Tuesday of next week is going to be the State of the Union. I have to watch it so I can report back to you. But Terry, as someone who has written many State of the Union addresses, what should we expect from this president in the midst of this moment of chaos? Can we say the state of our union is strong? Can we say the state of our union is good? What is the state of our union?
Well, in actuality, the state of our union is in total disarray. However, even though uh, the president has historically low polling numbers, he's going to give himself an A
Of course.
for everything, which is including the economy, social programs, and foreign policy. But in the midst of the rampant ethics problems, the Epstein files, the debacle in the Department of Homeland Security, and other things, he's going to gaslight the American people and tell us that everything is beautiful
So
when we know it isn't.
his narrative is that, but we see something different. So how will he, as a speechwriter, how do you think he's going to be able to marry that? Because it's just like Renee Good. They said one thing, we saw something different. They tried to say something about Alex Preddy, and it was something different.
Yeah,
They're telling us a lot of different things, and
yeah,
we're seeing different. How do you marry that in a speech? Guys, this conversation is to help you understand
yeah.
what you are going to see next week in the midst of the chaos in this nation.
Well, April, in times past, starting with Woodrow Wilson and JFK and Lyndon Johnson and Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, the State of the Union used to be a stately ceremonial affair where the president would lay out his policies for the year,
Mhm.
and the country would get a chance to assess, his performance and to hold him accountable for his promises. But in recent years, especially in the Trump years, it has devolved
Mhm.
into a recitation of so-called accomplishments and grievances.
Hmm.
I'm sure he's going to attack someone. I would be surprised if he didn't use the word Joe Biden.
Or
And
Barack Obama.
or yes, and so uh, you know the stature and the sort of gravitas of the State of the Union has diminished
Yeah.
during over the last few years, and it's going to be overly long. And I'm sure it's going to be uh, a very partisan affair where, of course, the Republicans will stand up and cheer on cue, and the Democrats will be glued to their seats. Those who show up, and I applaud Bennie Thompson for boycotting, and I understand that quite a few uh, Democratic congressmen will not be there, but those who will be there will not be, I'm sure, pleased with the message.
Is there optimism to be found? And how can his speechwriter say the state of our union is good and or strong? How can they say that? I mean, how do you think they will lead into that in
Well,
the
you
next
know, words are words. You can say anything you want, but and I think the American people are waking up to this charade, and
Mhm.
they will not accept that the gaslighting that he's used to delivering. So you know, I don't expect that he is going to show any kind of um, contrition or
Mhm.
empathy for for the people, and he will just continue to be Trump, which is to state to lie and to gaslight the American people. It's unfortunate, but that's what we're stuck with.
So when the president speaks, I'm sure he has a speechwriter, but he goes off on his own and on tangents. I mean,
Well,
how
I expect that you know, usually in the State of the Union, he sticks more to the script than usual because it's a laundry list of policy proposals, you know, having to deal with the economy and foreign policy and social programs. But yes, inevitably, he will veer off script and say something that we didn't expect, and it'll probably be incendiary.
can you give us an example of one of your most challenging State of the Union addresses where you had to lay out the problem, but yet give hope?
Well, in 1996, Bill Clinton was coming out of, I think the government shutdown had
Mhm.
just occurred, and the country was kind of in a little bit of a downspin.
Mhm.
But his 1996 State of the Union, where he announced that the era of big government is over, you know, he put out his New Democrat plan, which was, uh, you know, sort of a triangulation where he was appealing to conservatives as well as liberals. And that speech was well received by the public, even though it was a perilous time. And, you know, in his speech after uh, the Monica Lewinsky scandal was also notable for the fact that he, first of all, some people advised him not to give a speech. That
Really?
yeah, because of the of all the controversy surrounding him, but he was very good at compartmentalizing,
Yeah.
and he was focused on the people's business, and he was determined that he was going to give that speech, and it was a great speech as well.
Now, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bill Clinton was the first president to have a State of the Union address that had a split screen with O.J. Simpson. Am I correct?
You know, I don't remember that one. I'm
It was
sorry.
something that he gave, and there was a split screen. Well, we're gonna look it up. But I remember that O.J. slow chased and a lot of stuff happened. Uh, during the Clinton years.
Yes.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if you were advising Donald Trump, if you were advising Donald Trump, how would you direct him to deliver this speech to America? Understanding that he's not Bill Clinton, he doesn't reach across the aisle, he makes fun of people, putting them in mariachi band hats and making fun of them. But if since he doesn't reach across the aisle, what would you recommend to him to try to galvanize the nation that's hurting right now?
That's a really tough question, April.
Wow.
I My greatest hope is that he will acknowledge the uh, sort of moral resurgence that's happening in the country.
Mhm.
All the protests, uh, the what's ha the in Minnesota and in other cities across the country, and that he will show some sign that he hears the people.
Mm.
It's not just about us listening to him, it's him listening to us. And that's my greatest hope, is that he will show some sign that he has heard the word from the people.
So listen, I just got Julia Payne, who used to work with you. She works with us. She's amazing. And she used to work with you during the Clinton years. She said, yes, April, you're right. It was the OJ verdict on the same night as the State of the Union. I remember I said, what is this? I said, this is the President of the United States. And it was a
Yeah.
split screen during the State of the Union address. You have to be old enough to remember that. I know I look like I'm 17, but
Uh,
look, you have to be old enough to remember that.
or
And
you maybe you're too old to remember it, like myself.
no, we are forever young. But listen, Julia says, big love and respect for J. Terry Edmonds! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Michael says, I remember Bill Clinton when he went off script doing the healthcare speech. It was
Yes.
pretty amazing. Jennifer says, Trump just babbles. He's incoherent. He might fall asleep. Oh, that would be terrible if he does. Mike says, it seems like a polarized nation. It doesn't even matter if Trump gaslights. Barbara says, propaganda, propaganda, propaganda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jen says, I'm urging my three New York reps, including Senator Schumer, to boycott. Hey, I'm what Democrats may really walk out on this one.
Yeah.
Lori says he's not going to tell us the truth. He's going to tell us fables and mumbles. I'm boycotting, all in caps, his State of the Union. I also did this in his first term. I miss hearing an authentic intelligence from an intelligent POTUS. I miss Biden and Obama.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah. I think a lot of the American people may tune out. Uh, it's usually I don't know what the ratings are generally for the State of the Union, but I
I
predict that
think his were poor last time.
these will be probably even worse
So,
because
what are the agenda items you think he needs to address? We know he's going to say what he's going to say, but what do you think are the agenda items for the American public that he should address? We know he has to do what I remember, he has to do foreign and domestic, and the biggest thing, the economy right now. That's from learning from you all these years and watching you. You are such a great teacher, and I want to thank you.
well, thank you. Thank you.
I listen.
I think that he's going to have to focus on, of course, the affordability crisis.
Mhm,
He's going to have to talk about the immigration enforcement debacle in
mhm,
some way. I mean, they have announced that they're backing off of Minneapolis, but you know, there are plans for concentration camps across the country, and I don't know if he's going to go into that, but the American people are also objecting to that.
mhm,
I would love for him to talk about education, what's happening in the world, and you know, this drawback of diversity and inclusion
mhm.
is really unsettling. And as Bennie Thompson mentioned, it was very strange for him to be celebrating Black History Month when he's, vilifying Barack Obama and Michelle, and taking every opportunity he can.
And uninviting Wes Moore.
Yes, yes,
Black governor
yeah,
to dinner this weekend,
right, right.
but he's not a racist.
That's
He
right.
won Black History month, all year, in the whole century.
Yeah. But I
I,
have to say, as bad as things go, I take heart from what Jesse Jackson said and what you said in your column the other day. Keep hope alive. We got to keep
oh,
hope alive.
I'm
And
glad you read the column.
yeah, I saw what you said, and I thought it was very good. So, you know, it's tough times, but I believe that we shall not be overcome by this
Mm.
administration.
So speaking of Jesse Jackson, you were there too. Did you have to write some stuff for Jesse Jackson when he was on tour with the president, when he spoke and did like the digital divide stuff, and when we were in Africa, did you have to help out there, or did you take some notes from Jesse Jackson to put in some speeches?
Well, I was inspired by Jesse, his oratorical brilliance, along with Martin Luther King and people like Muhammad Ali and they were my heroes back in the day, both for their rhetorical excellence and for what they stood for humanistically. Um, so yeah, I've been in uh, I've traveled with Jesse and the president, but I don't think I've written remarks for the president that he gave in events with Jesse. And I believe way back when I was in Baltimore working for Dwayne Wickham. I don't know
Oh,
if you know Dwayne.
wow.
He had a small agency, and and I think we were advising Kwesi Mfume, and Jesse um, did a PSA, and I believe I worked on that PSA to support have Kwesi's candidacy for Congress. That
Yeah,
was in
he Jesse loves.
1986 or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at WEAA. That was my first year. No, that was like, it was, yeah. Well, I don't know. I
Was
started,
that Morgan?
yeah,
Morgan's radio.
85. And he was leaving to go to Congress when I came. No, he was city council. I don't know. It's he was city councilman leaving to go when I was at W. It was in 86, but yeah, it,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's so many paths crossed. So listen, I want to go to some of these people who are saying this. Uh, Truth to Power says Jesse's genius was communicating with everyone. Michael says Jesse Jackson gave one of the great speeches in American history. I remember it so well. Kay says, I do not feel these speeches are useful because this administration is not trustworthy. And that's another thing. Doesn't That's messaging that's supposed to build trust, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe that a president has to be both a governing and a moral leader.
Mhm.
And that's what I've been fortunate to surround myself or to be in the presence of moral leaders like Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Uh, I think there's somewhat of a moral deficit in the White House at this point,
You think?
and you know we're in trouble
Yeah.
until the midterms.
So I want you to pull out now. I want to switch gears and go to your poems. I read a couple of poems. And I should have a bookmark. I've got an envelope. The trains. When riding trains, I said he's riding in Baltimore. That I said it says when riding trains, you get to see the backs of things, supermarkets, warehouses, and loading docks, the undersides of bridges, forest edges, busted windows, big brick walls, and weeds. Someone is snoring softly in the seat in front of me. I thought that was lovely. And then on the other side, there's Spanish.
Yeah.
But and then there's another one that's for this moment. It's on page 108. And this, I'm just gonna say the English. Question marks, Terry as Edmonds. Question marks, guys, get it. Where books are sold.
On
Enough.
Amazon.
Yes, okay, where books are sold on Amazon. Enough of fear and fever, choking chests. I come to breathe with you a bold new sky that spans the awful circle. Length and breadth commands the rhythmic moon tides and sunrise. Some say this is the nearing end of time. Drums of war no more retreating, a road stained with indivisible lines. We march until the hour stops its fleeting. I'm not going to read anymore. I want you guys to buy this on Amazon, but I want you to end this. You wrote a compelling and such a heartwarming poem. It was for Renee Good, Night of the Murdered Poet. Can you read it for us, please?
I will. And I would preface it by saying that on August the 12th of 1952, 13 imprisoned Russian Jewish intellectuals, including 5 Yiddish poets, were executed by Stalin for their support of the Jewish Anti-Fascist Committee. And this came to be known as the Night of the Murdered Poets. This poem is called Night of the Murdered Poet for Renee Nicole Good. I imagine on the eve of the day of sleepless night and restless whisper, she had no clue that she was due and giving birth to her last. A poem that looked the mask of terror in the eye, smiled, and spoke for good. Renee once wrote, "The Bible, Quran, and Bhagavad Gita are sliding long hairs behind my ear like mom used to, and exhaling from their mouths, make room for wonder." In ice cold blood, a wife, a mother, a wonder, a poet was murdered in Minnesota.
Claudia says, beautiful, beautiful word craft. Laurie says, thank you guys for this forum. Exclamation, exclamation. Terry, you gave us the heart that we needed in this moment.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for being with me. You don't come out much, but you came out for me today, and we adore you. Guys, I think you're going to be hearing more from Terry very soon. I think you're going to be hearing more. So stay tuned to the Contrarian and the Tea. Terry Edmonds, Morgan's finest, Baltimore's finest, and the first Black head speechwriter in history for any president of the United States. That's Terry Edmonds.
All right. Thank you, April. You're
Thank you, Terry.
so sweet. Thank you very much.
You know how I feel about you. Thank
All
you,
right.
my friend.
Okay.
See you soon. Guys, this show has just touched my heart. Get this book. Get this book on Amazon, please. Support Terry. Question marks, Terry Edmonds, okay? It's worth reading. I've been flipping through the pages. I love poetry. We need something like this to find heart again, to find peace again in the midst of the storm. But with that said, as we're rounding out the show, we're talking about hope in a time of hopelessness. Barack Obama did an interview this week about how to fight back. Barack Obama did an interview this week about how to fight back. I want you guys to watch this interview, and then we're going to come back on the other side. Take a look.
But we should take a moment to appreciate the extraordinary outpouring of organizing, community building, decency, neighbors buying groceries for folks, accompanying children to school, teachers who were standing up for their kids, not just randomly, but in a systematic, organized way, citizens saying, this is not the America we believe in, and we're going to fight back, and we're going to push back with the truth, and with cameras, and with peaceful protests, and shining a light on the sort of behavior that in the past we've seen in authoritarian countries, and we've seen in dictatorships, but we have not seen in America. And that kind of heroic sustained behavior in sub-zero weather by ordinary people is what should give us hope.
An extraordinary effort by ordinary people. Doing good. Just do good. Your ministry is what you can do. You don't have to be out here marching all the time, but do good. We needed to hear that clarion call. We needed that voice. You know, whew, I needed that. And I know you did too. Lori says, Obama, my favorite president ever. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Thank you, April. Exclamation mark. I needed another exclamation mark too, but that's okay. Julia says, what a show. April, thank you. Iris says, April, I read your column about Reverend Jesse Jackson. It was lovely. Thank you so much. Guys, we work hard every week to book the show that can really help us move forward. That's why I sip my tea. That's why I sip my tea, because it's a lot out here, but we're in this together. And as I close the show tonight, I want to thank all of my team because they put up with me and I love them dearly. They have allowed me to give voice to some of what I've been thinking in this great show on this great platform, The Contrarian on Substack, The Tea with April. And I want you guys, don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe. We need subscriptions because we are independent journalism. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I cannot emphasize that enough. But with that said, we lost a giant this week. He told us to keep hope alive. I wrote an article about Jesse Jackson's legacy. Please, it's on The Contrarian. It's on Substack. Please read it. His funeral arrangements are out. But I want to remember some of the first words I remember hearing from Jesse Jackson. I am somebody. He was at Sesame Street talking to kids, telling them, I am somebody. Team, roll tape.
Ready on the stump? Yeah. Okay, here we go. I am somebody. I am somebody. I may be poor. But I am somebody. I may be young. But I am somebody. I may be on welfare. But I am somebody. I may be small. But I am somebody. I may make a mistake. But I am somebody. My clothes are different. My face is different. My hair is different. But I am somebody. I am black, brown, white. I speak a different language. But I must be respected, protected, never rejected. I am God's child. I am somebody. Give yourself a big hand.